be called the Sydney Distraction on Climate Change.
Having shown the way in Sydney, Kevin Rudd's challenging John Howard to go the next step at home.
Use this opportunity to turn the corner on climate change, ratify Kyoto.
It won't satisfy everyone, but John Howard got what he wanted, an agreement, however modest, among the region's biggest carbon emitters. A victory for climate change diplomacy, if not for the environment itself. Enough for one to call it quits.
That's good.
Homeward bound after dinner. Greg Jennett, ABC News, Sydney.
Ferries on the harbour, choppers overhead. It's all happening here at Sydney's Circular Quay. There have been fears of violence as police and protesters geared up for the biggest demonstration of the APEC week. There were 17 arrests and 2 police were injured. But it turned out to be a largely peaceful march through the centre of Sydney. Organisers say 10,000 turned out to drive home messages on the war in Iraq and climate change, but police put the figure at 3,000.
The empty streets of Sydney were filled once again as pre-march speeches fired up the crowd with a declaration.
We have got the right to protest, and we are going to assert our right to protest, and no one's going to take it away from us.
The war in Iraq was the major focus. A former Marine led the way.
Everywhere Bush travels, he has to erect a fortress to protect himself. What the hell is this man so afraid of?
The crowd moved the 3 blocks towards Hyde Park. There were the young.
We want real action on climate change. That means solar and wind and renewable energy, no nuclear, no coal.
And there were those who decided it was time to take a stand. World leaders are meeting about a kilometre away at the Opera House down that way. Police have blocked off streets by parking buses end on end. At this stage, it doesn't look like anyone's going to be trying to get through. But there were several arrests. Police wrestled one man to the ground and then pinned him to the road. Other officers then surrounded the group to keep people away.
Get back! Get back!
In all, 17 people were charged. Police say one officer was struck by a dart and another was hit by an iron bar. This pair is now up on offensive behaviour charges for their naked approach. The new water cannon was brought in, surrounded by police in riot gear to clear the back of the march. There was no need to use it. The police presence was nothing short of massive. Lines of officers formed a human barrier around Hyde Park. Apart from the isolated arrests, the atmosphere was generally calm and even festive. And there was a reworking of George Bush's verbal stumbles. Organisers say they got their message across.
We think today's been very successful. We're very pleased with how today has gone.
We always indicated that we would be there in sufficient numbers to be able to act swiftly against those that broke the law.
This was the only major rally planned for APEC. Sydney is breathing a sigh of relief. It seems to have escaped the ugly confrontations other cities have had to endure, while still allowing people the right to have their say. Joe O'Brien, ABC News, Sydney.